You're entering championship round. This is 5-round MMA. I'm Guillermo Cita alongside Alex Ramirez and Albert Cita. We had an action-packed UFC 165, and we also had we have MFC middleweight Jason South on the show today. But we begin with the undercard bout. Is there anything noticeable from UFC 165?
I just want to point out two things. One, if you guys go way back, I was big on the kid named
Bruce Leroy.
Not Bruce Leroy.
Oh, okay.
Stephen Thompson. He had an amazing debut. He had a amazing KO kick that he got it, but then he faced Matt Brown, and I think he just was too green, but he showed that.
Guy never gets credit to Matt Brown, does he?
Yeah, I know.
Matt Brown would never.
Well, now
Matt
he
Brown would
has
never get
Carlos
credit in
Condit on the.
Yeah.
And then we'll see what Matt Brown's really made out of.
Okay,
Then
back
maybe
to
I'll eat my words.
Actually,
Anyways,
it's Roy McDonald.
and
Sorry.
this is not the Matt Brown show. Let me keep going. Anyways, Stephen Thompson lost that fight, but at least he showed some potential in there, and he showed even more potential in his last fight right now, and he had an amazing performance, another TKO. I think
definitely has a unique style.
Yeah,
right?
he has a unique style. Like I say, he reminds me of the reason why I started liking Machida. It's something new, and it's something like you've seen in the movies being translated into the octagon.
All the different types of kicks on
Yeah,
different
that's
angles.
what I'm saying. Yeah, it looks amazing.
He's not afraid to try
Yeah.
them, and he has the execution
Exactly.
to land them. So
he's someone to watch out for. And then real quick,
I know you wanted to talk about, or Alex wanted to talk about his boy Bruce Leroy.
split decision win. Facebook fight.
Were you impressed?
But he wasn't.
He's hanging in there.
He
Bruce
wasn't
Leroy's hanging in
bad.
there.
He just needs to really kick up his game.
Yeah.
I just know when he was on Tough, you guys were like, "Oh man, this guy
come on now,
is
the
gonna
guy's
be
name
so
was
good."
Bruce Leroy.
He was-
Come on,
yeah,
now.
Bruce Leroy.
He gets his points on that.
The Last Dragon. Come on.
Anyways, Tristan Mullins, just he had a good night, except for
Your boy
a
Mike Ritchie. I
smite.
know he's really upset about this. I know I was giving him a hard time yesterday, telling him how Mike Ritchie's really not that great.
Well,
and he was defending
it
him.
started off good because I said he looked really good at the weigh-in. So
Yeah.
the TriStar was already on the roll because the weigh-ins went really good. They all looked really
They all
good.
look picture perfect. So I thought it was gonna go good. And for someone that practices with so many people that are good in the ground, like GSP, Francis Comol, you would think his ground game will be a little bit better, but that's what he's really lacking is like solid ground game. I thought his technique is there, but
His technique is really slow though.
it's there.
No,
It's there.
if someone
It's there.
were to rush him
It's a perfect
and
jab.
press him a little bit harder, I don't think his technique would have been as crisp as you think it was.
I just think he has one more fight to really prove himself if he belongs in the UFC before he just goes away.
Goes
But
away, yeah.
I still think he could get there. He just needs to really step up the game.
Yeah, he doesn't have Dana White on his side. You remember on Tough,
Yeah.
he called him a pretty boy accounting. Which
But
is
I don't know if that.
which
I
is
don't know how
opening
that-
qua-
I don't know
which
how
is
that's an
opening
insult.
criteria to-
Counting
to,
is a very good job and a pretty boy. I mean, it's not his fault. He's good looking.
opening criteria is a part that outside the gym for TriStar. Seeking pretty boy accountants.
Yeah.
Apply within.
So let's move on to the main card. Let's start off with the first fight of the night from the main card, from the pay-per-view. It was Khabib Nurmagomedov versus Pat Healy.
And I don't feel too bad for slaughtering his name because everybody was slaughtering his name.
Yeah.
So I don't feel too
I,
bad
think,
now.
I heard it pronounced like 50 different ways last
Yeah.
night on Saturday. So
You guys were impressed by Khabib?
Oh,
I know he called out for a title shot
he's
at the end.
a wild, very wild, but it's almost like a controlled wildness.
yeah, and I think the wildness happened because Pat Healy's stand up. I mean, you had two very high caliber strikers here,
Yeah.
and sometimes it just turns out that way because the caliber. I mean, both guys could pretty much put it away. It was a very entertaining fight. It was good. I mean, the slam was amazing.
Yeah, he
Slam
picked
was
up
good.
Pat Healy
Yeah,
on
put him
one side of the
across
cage
the-
and
yeah.
took him all the way to the other side.
But as far as instant title shot, I don't know. Maybe there's one more opponent out there I think he should
I mean,
face.
21-0, 5-0 in the
I know there's a
UFC.
lot of lightweights that are injured right now. Benson Henderson, TJ Grant. So it's kind of interesting.
Well, and then Showtime Pettis has a fight already
Yeah,
announced
already
with Josh
booked.
Thompson.
And then Guillermo Melendez and Dio Sanchez.
I think
are
he's going to
booked.
face the winner of that.
Great Manor, Nate Diaz
Yeah,
got booked.
So I really hope he faces one more person to get the instinct. But there's a lot to be played out, and there's a lot to be known. But I can't wait
I mean,
to see
Pat
him
Healy's
again.
a good win for him, but he was number 10 ranked in the lightweight division. I think
Yeah,
that-
but then Pat Healy at the same time finished Jim Miller, who has never.
That's true,
You
too.
look at all the past champions that like Benson Henderson for one. I mean, they couldn't finish this guy. And
Yeah.
Pat Healy.
Well, technically, that finish never happened. 'Cause
Yeah.
It was a no contest.
Oh, yeah.
it was a no contest. So, but I think Gilbert Melendez, winner Gilbert Melendez and Diego Sanchez makes the most sense for Khabib.
Certainly lines up perfectly.
Yeah, it lines up perfect.
Yeah.
So then we move on to the next fight. It's Francis Carmon, your TriStar modeling agency, versus Costa Philippou.
Did you see his back muscles? Perfection.
Well, of course, because he was on top of Costa the whole fight. So
Yeah,
all we
seriously,
saw
that's all.
was his
it
back
was
muscles.
like- I know Dana White was sleeping through the whole fight. Were you
Yeah.
sleeping?
I was actually pretty awake because I was taking down my notes because I do some mauling on the side as well. So I was kind of trying to figure out that nice back muscle and how to perfect it.
I was yawning the entire time this fight.
Which is surprising because you have the biggest GSP fan over
Yeah,
here.
seriously.
And
Alex
yet
is the biggest
he fought
GSP fan
a
over
GSP
here.
fight, but yet it was entertaining.
It's the hype.
Did he not entertain
GSP
you?
is all hyping because that's why it gets you pumped up. But Francis Carmon, Costa Philippou, I mean,
Oh, okay.
and they're like, honestly, if Francis Carmon wants to be taken seriously in the middleweight division, it's a division that's filled with strikers now. You got Vitor Belfort, Michael Bisping likes to stand, Machida's dropping down. These are all strikers, and if he thinks he can get a title shot with that kind of style in this division, not gonna happen.
I don't think he'll get a title shot because of his fighting style, but I think he's just so overpowering. He was so much bigger than Costa Philippou, and I think he's bigger than a lot of the welterweights.
One point I do want to make before we move on to the other matchups is that when he fought Lawrence Larkin, he wasn't as dominant. And Lawrence Larkin is
Let's credit to Larkin.
yeah,
right?
more credit to Larkin. And Larkin is actually way smaller than Costa Philippou. That's why I found very impressive of Lawrence Larkin that he was able to match up so good with or not match up, but I mean Francis Camon couldn't do what he did to Costa to Lawrence Larkin.
Yeah.
More credit to Lawrence Larkin. But that also shows you how big Francis Camon is in the 185 division, I think.
Yeah, all he has to do is lay and pray. Honestly, that's
That's
what
not gonna
we
work
saw.
against
I wouldn't
the
say
elite.
about ground and
I
pound.
mean, it's not gonna work with Mark
I didn't see
Rubio,
no
so
ground and
that's
pound
all.
yesterday.
That's
That's the thing. So let's move on to the next fight. It was your boy,
this
the
is when-
hybrid,
this is when I fell
Brandon
asleep.
Schaub versus Matt Mitchell. How
I
did
was
you
like-
fall asleep?
I was
He came
awake.
out with the brown belt and he showed you his jiu-jitsu.
I was awake for Camon, and then I went on a bathroom break when these guys showed up.
Wow.
You weren't
Heavyweights.
impressed by that the dart choke?
Then, well, okay, it was a
He
good
put
choke,
Meathead to
but
sleep.
he was so sloppy getting there.
Matt Meathead almost kicked the ref,
For a guy that
gave a
says
thumbs up, and
Yeah.
fell asleep.
for the guy that says like his MMA level so high, and it's like he was very rough around the edges and his stand up. It was rough even getting Mitchell onto the ground to do that darts choke. So I mean, to say that Schwab, stamped his name in the MMA
no, not even.
community,
Brandon
he's
No,
like,
Schaub.
in the heavyweight
Schaub.
division.
Yeah,
so,
that's what
I
I'm
mean,
saying. So
You got like the elite guys. Can he compete
Yeah, that's
against
the next
Josh
question.
Barnett, Travis Browning, now
No.
No, there's no way.
Alistair Overeem,
I
Frank
honestly-
Mir,
yeah,
No.
I-
Fabrice
and
Overdue.
the crazy part is I think he probably is going to get the winner at Frank Mir and Overeem.
Which
and-
I don't
and-
see him winning
yeah,
that
and
fight
I don't
whatsoever.
see him winning that
He's
fight
already
either.
lost to Nogueras, lost to Roy Nelson, lost to Ben Rothwell. So it's kind of like Brendan Schaub is just in the middle to the late behind the pack. So.
Like a gatekeeper to the
Not even
top
that,
10.
like,
Yeah, because
maybe.
it's like I mean, he lost to Big Nog, and we know Big Nog's not championship caliber anymore. So
Yeah.
it's
He lost
not
to Ben
really-
Rothwell, who got
Yeah, he lost to Ben Rothwell, nasty.
Yeah.
So it's like he's not really a good gatekeeper. He's kind of just letting that gate open.
He's like the security guard who's asleep.
Yeah.
At the,
Yeah. So what about Matt Meathead? Do you think his days are numbered in
I
the
think
UFC?
his days were numbered since the first day that he fought.
No, I don't think so.
No.
I think that there's a shortage of a legit
Yeah,
heavyweights
I
out
think
there.
that's something that
who
saves
guys
him.
who are this big.
There's no true heavyweights out there, so that keeps him a job. I do think he's going to get the winner of the Gabriel Gonzaga fight. Most likely.
So you anticipate another run for Gabriel Gonzaga and a title shot at the end?
I've been denying it this whole time, but I think Gabriel Gonzaga goes for his next streak.
Sleeper
I don't know
run
what
in
you see in Gabriel Gonzaga.
the 2014 year of Gonzaga or what?
Look, I'm a sucker for the little things, and his little mouthpiece is tight. It's awesome. So I'm a sucker for it.
Okay, so let's move on to the co-main event. I know you guys are big on Renan Barão, but he defeated Eddie Wineland on Saturday. So
man.
Yeah.
your
Hey.
thoughts on Renan Barão and a potential matchup with Dominic Cruz?
Well, Renan Barão is a beast. I
Well-
mean, as soon as he found his range, it was game over.
Yeah, the first round you said you.
Well, you were on like, Eddie, oh my god, Eddie Wineland might have a chance, and then
Well,
you
yeah,
see
'cause
round two, and then
he
you're
was,
like,
he,
oh,
was, he was very composed, and he was
kept moving.
Yeah, he kept moving, find different angles, but in the second round, Renan Barão found his reach, and
spinning
that's-
back kick to the face.
and that's
yes,
all- that's
that was
all
a
it- that's all
deadly
it took.
Kick.
And at the same time, I mean, like if Dominic's only real chance is to continue to do different angles and not let Renan Barão find his reach, because obviously,
I mean, like
as soon as that guy knows where to hit you, it's over.
yeah. I mean, right now Renan Barão slated to fight Dominic Cruz in early 2014. That's what
Yeah.
they wanted to do. But I mean, Dominic Cruz has been out for 2 years, coming off an ACL injury, and he has to fight Renan Barão, his first
Yeah.
fight in 2 years.
I think Renan Barão is the
Yeah.
top
And,
class.
like again, I don't think people take into consideration his record. I mean, he's 31-1. His first loss being his first fight ever, and then he goes on and wins 31 fights in a row.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. And
I think he might end up being better than Jose Aldo, to tell you the truth.
Wow, that would actually be a good fight to see, Renan Barão versus Jose Aldo. But I know you were impressed by
They're
Renan,
good
Yeah,
friends,
they are.
though. So
Yeah.
I don't think they'll fight.
and I heard you're really impressed by Renan Barão in the post conference.
Oh yeah, because they're talking about John Bon Jones could be the next Mayweather, and Dana White actually said Renan Barão could be the next Mayweather.
Yeah.
And, Renan's just like, what? You know,
Me?
you guys talking about me? But
Yeah,
Barão's
'cause
like,
I
don't get me wrong, he's a
yeah.
beast. He's an animal.
And I know. And what's funny was when Renan Barão was coming out and he has the cut off sleeves.
Yeah.
Albert was like, "What? You have TriStar, then you have Renan Barão."
Interesting fashion choices for the Brazilians as always.
Yeah,
right?
always. I mean, they come out with like weird polos, those cutout sleeve
But
shirts.
at least his whole corner kept it. They all have the cutout sleeve shirt too. So
they kept it the same, which
is weird. You think it's less space for advertising too, but I guess they want to look cool. I guess.
You can easily add a logo to this.
I guess they want to look cool going sleeveless. Maybe next time it'd be mullets.
So that's pretty much it for the UFC. Besides the main event, because that deserves
Was
a
so
segment on
big.
its own.
We have to talk about that later on. But as for
Because
right now,
conspiracy theories over here.
well, we'll get into that a little bit later on. But next, we have an interview with MFT middleweight Jason South. Should be great. Stick around, guys.
Please visit FiveRoundMMA.com on our social media on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. FiveRoundMMA.com. Drink Fearless, Fight Fearless, brought to you by Honey Badger. We have MFC middleweight Jason South.
Hey, Jason, Alex Ramirez here. I want to thank you for taking the time to talk to us. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem, guys. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you got a big bout coming up October 4th, MSC 38, MFC middleweight bout. How's the training camp going, and are all things going good for a good performance by you on October 4th?
Yeah, things are going great. Feeling great. Peaking at the right time. I'm going to be ready for this.
And then it's this is Albert Sita. There's no hiding that you are a submission specialist. I mean, most of your wins come by submission.
Yeah.
Is that something you pride yourself on? And what can you explain more of that jiu-jitsu background of yours?
I guess I should pride myself a little bit more. I really would like to have a knockout under my belt, but I guess I can't have everything, but maybe someday. No, my jiu-jitsu started, I trained at a place called Unified Jiu-Jitsu here in Salt Lake. That's basically where everything started for me. I started there almost 7 years ago, and man, it's just full of talented guys, and it was actually Pedro Sauer's original school that he started when he came to the United States.
You're so good on the ground and submission. Do you pride yourself knowing that, okay, your opponent knows you're so good on the ground that you kind of pride yourself saying, okay, this is what I'm good at. I'm going to take you down and submit you, and I kind of dare them to stop you?
Well, I never put anything past anybody. I've had, quite a few fights where the guy knows that very well, but he still ends up taking me down anyways.
Yeah.
So, I try to be prepared everywhere I am. I don't think that I have to take it to the ground to finish the fight, but I'll take a finish anywhere.
And then you competed in Tough Enough 16. Can you tell us about the experience, about your experience on the show and how it actually helped with your career?
Oh, it's a crappy experience, obviously.
Yeah.
Hey, my only loss, didn't officially show up on the books, but that really hurt. I finally had those gloves that said UFC on them. But obviously it didn't go my way. But I learned a lot from it. I'm not gonna sit and piss and moan about it. I did a few things wrong in that fight, quite a few things. I got caught up in brawling, standing right in front of the guy. I was doing that a lot in sparring. I love brawling with people, sparring, but it's not very smart when you got the small gloves on, especially with those small gloves, and you can get knocked out or knocked down a lot easier.
Yeah, all it takes is one lucky punch.
Yeah.
I know. So you said it was tough for you after the your stint on The Ultimate Fighter, but can you talk about your coaches and your family and how they've backed you up in your career, helping you emotionally and physically to become the fighter you are today?
Yeah, man. My coaches, my family, my friends. Everybody's nobody looks down on you, no matter how much you think, you're such a disappointment to everybody. But nobody looks down on you. Everybody loses. The best in the world loses, and it's really a great support having such great people behind me. My coaches, we're able to come up with new ideas and different things. What went wrong, how to correct it, and try not to let it happen again.
And then let's go back to your MFC fight. Your opponent is Sam Alvey, and he has 12 career KOs. How are you gonna pretty much isolate his power and not be one of those people to get knocked out?
You know, do my best, keep working my angles. Put the fight where I want it, and not get sucked into his game where he's really good at.
Yeah, is Alvey probably the most dangerous striker you've faced so far in your career?
Well, I've faced a couple of them that really like just to stand and bang. For some of them, the guys, he still ended up, threatened for me not to stand up with him, but he still ended up taking me to the ground. Other ones where it just ended up on the ground. Everybody's dangerous. Everybody hits hard with those small gloves. Even if you're not a striker, you can still get a knockout. You just got to be as smart about it as you possibly can.
And then you have one pretty interesting backstory as your journey to MMA. You actually started in your 30s, and then now you're fighting for a belt. Can you kind of tell me like your path as far as MMA and how you started and how you got to the point that you're at now?
Yeah, I was like everybody else. I watched it on TV, thought it was awesome, thought it looked cool, thought I could do it, and it started with basically started with that Matt Hughes Hoist Gracie fight. So they showed Hoist's old fights, and me not knowing what jiu-jitsu was, I thought jiu-jitsu was karate. So Hoist comes out with the gi on, and I'm like, okay, here's this karate guy. He's gonna get smashed, and it shows a bunch of his old fights, and he's killing everybody, tapping them all out, and I was just like, what is he doing? I found out that's what jiu-jitsu was. So my mother-in-law for my 29th birthday signed me up for a month at jiu-jitsu. I went down to that unified jiu-jitsu, got destroyed. Wow. I was pretty solid 215 at the time. I don't have any background in wrestling or anything, but for a few years I was pretty solid at just working out. So and I was a furniture mover, so I was pretty strong, but went in against guys that were 50, 70 pounds lighter than me, and just I couldn't do anything to them other than tap to them. Oh. So I was completely sold. I had no idea what it was. I was just amazed what somebody smaller than me, way less. I was way stronger than them, and it didn't mean anything. I was just hooked after that.
Can I still, speaking with your jiu-jitsu, can I still talk about the mental preparation like jiu-jitsu has for you and the benefits it has, not only in fighting but kind of the everyday life?
Yeah. I used to have a trucking business. My in-laws started it. My father-in-law passed away like 12 years ago, so I kind of got thrown right in the seat of running the business. And of course, like everything else, at that young age, it was exciting to, be part owner in a business and being able to run it. But as the years went on, man, it was just a mental drain. It exhausted me so bad. But doing jiu-jitsu was about the only thing I could do. I could leave work pissed off at the whole, just wanted to strangle every employee I had, and I could go do jiu-jitsu. And I didn't go in there like angry at anybody, but just frustrated with things. And I didn't go in there like I'm going to take it out on anybody. It was just such a therapeutic thing for me. I could walk out of jiu-jitsu just with, totally at peace with myself. It literally saved my sanity.
Wow. So this is going to be your debut in MFC, correct?
Yeah.
Are you kind of, is this the first time you've been fighting in Canada, or you've been fighting in Canada before?
Yeah, no, first time in Canada at all.
Oh, so you do some sightseeing before or after the fight, maybe?
I'm not sure. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
I don't plan on anything because you don't know what's going to happen after the fight.
That's very true.
Hospital after the fight, who knows?
Yeah, so I know MFC's been around for about 12 years, a major promotion. Any little jitters before maybe competing on a major promotion on a card this big? MFC 38 is going to have 3 title fights. you're in one of the bouts. Is it kind of just like easy going into the fight? Are you a little nervous maybe before?
No, it's about the same as any other fight. It doesn't really. I've been pretty blessed with nerves. I do.
Oh, okay.
I'm like anybody else. I do get nervous. I get antsy, but it doesn't. It's never really had an effect on me that it's like wipe me out. Not yet so far. And I feel the same so far as I felt with any other fight, whether it's in front of 50 people or 10,000 people. Actually, I like it fighting in front of a lot of people. The crowd pumps me up. It doesn't frighten me.
A different type of energy. All right, we'll let you go now. We wish you best of luck on October 4th.
Thanks,
MSC 38 at the Shaw Conference Center, Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. Can be seen live in the U.S. on Access TV and TSN in Canada. Again, Jason South going up against Sam Alvey for the MFC Middleweight Championship. Jason, we wish you best of luck. And before you go, do you want to say thanks to anybody?
Yeah, thanks, guys. I just want to give a shout out to my gyms and teammates, like always. Unified Jiu-Jitsu, Pit Elevated, Jim Jones, family, friends, everybody that supports me, all my teammates that beat me up every day. Thank you.
All right, Jason South, thank you very much.
Thanks, guys.
All right, thank you.
Please visit FiveRoundMMA.com on our social media on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. FiveRoundMMA.com. We had Macho Madness on Saturday. It was John Bone Jones versus Alexander Gustafsson. What an epic war. But I know Albert has a lot of controversy behind this, a lot of unhappiness.
Shenanigans.
Yeah, shenanigans. I don't see no shenanigans. John Bone Jones was a clear winner.
Clear winner?
Clear winner.
That's not what his lip said.
Statistically, every other sport is based on statistics. Why can't UFC be based on stats as well?
Gosh. First of all, you gotta get out of here because you had one thing.
He's
The
the
only
host.
thing I agree with his opening comments was the madness. There was nothing but madness yesterday. Gustafsson clearly won the first 3 rounds, and then I don't care about the 4th and 5th. All right.
You stopped watching after 4 and 5.
No,
bro.
4 and 5.
You saw Gustafsson running around.
Took another nap after the 4 and 5.
I was just counting down the time because I knew he won the first 3 rounds, so I knew
That was Albert. He's like, this is the longest
Come
90
on,
seconds
5,
ever.
3. We're gonna get a new champion. Look, listen. You fight metric stats. Get that out of my face, all right?
Well,
out of my face right now. Because let me tell you something.
We'll start with this argument.
Okay.
Let me look. You guys need to see who was the most efficient person in the fight, right? Yeah, John Bone Jones landed 3 hard punches, 3 maybe 4 hard punches, right? But who had the most actual significant strikes in the fight? It was Gustafsson. Look at John Bone Jones' face, man. The guy had, and no pun intended, a fat lip. All right.
What about like all of the John Jones was more active with his leg kicks and kicks to the torso.
But were they significant? Is what I'm trying to say. Did they do anything?
I was just going by the judges, but that's not what they saw, right? Because I mean,
obviously not. And one was freaking blind as heck, dude. 49-46.
Yeah.
Really?
So go off your UFC official stats.
All right, look. This is from the UFC.com official stats, just to show you how ridiculous bringing up stats even is. Okay.
Okay.
But let me give it to you. Really?
I think
The total strikes was for John Bone Jones. It was 120 out of 221, giving him a 55%. Right. Alexander Gustafsson was 191 out of 278, giving him 69%.
This is from UFC.com.
This is UFC.com. Significant strikes, 120 out of 221 for Jones, giving him a 55%. And you have Alexander Gustafsson, 191 out of 278, giving him 69%.
Okay, what about takedown?
And as far as takedown, they both got 1, but John Jones got 1 out of 12,
okay,
giving him an
Gustafsson?
8%, right? And Alexander Gustafsson got 1 out of 5,
okay, so
giving him 20%, being more efficient, actually,
so
on the takedowns.
If I didn't see the fight and you told me those stats, I'm going to say Gustafsson won
Exactly.
by a decision.
If we're just going on sets on, but then Guillermo.
Okay, so now my argument is I'm at fightmetric.com. I have 62% for John Bone Jones for significant strikes, and I have 38% for Gustafsson.
Wow.
But see the big gap here?
You have 1 for 11 takedowns for John Bone Jones, and you have 1 for 8 for Gustafsson. So again, the percentages aren't that different, but nonetheless, it has John Bone Jones. But this is where you're wrong. Instead of judging the fight for the overall fight, you gotta judge it round by round. If you look at it round by
We
round,
can do that. That's fine.
round 1, Gustafsson won. Round 2, John Bone Jones won. Round 3, Gustafsson won. Round 4 and 5 went to John Bone Jones, and there's your clear winner.
That's horrible. First of all, you don't know how to break down rounds. Let me tell you real quick. All
Well,
right.
and then in my
First
last
first round, we all agree it was Eisner and Gustafsson.
Yes.
So let's get to the second round, okay?
Yeah.
We're in the second round. We're talking about again. Look, there's 5 minutes in a round, right?
Yeah.
5 minutes in a round. If John Bone Jones does something just for a minute and 30 seconds, that doesn't tell me he won the round. That means he won the round a minute and 30 seconds worth. All right. The other time, it was all clearly Alexander Gustafsson. That's what frustrates me. Alexander Gustafsson had the most significant strikes. He ate up most of the time doing his game work rather than John Bone Jones.
Well, I'm on round 2 right now for fight metric. I have 62% for John Bone Jones and 29% for Gustafsson on significant strikes.
Yeah, and that was
26 to 15.
in the span of a minute and 30 seconds, John Bone Jones was able to land all that. But the other 4 minutes, it was all Alexander Gustafsson.
So, but to my last point is everybody takes a look at Frankie Edgar and at the end of the fight
And how he's worthless, he's
yeah.
trash.
Well, no,
Oh, sorry.
no, he actually
How
wins
he's
the fight,
beat up.
but he looks beat up. Just because someone is more, let's say, a punch is easier to open you up, does not necessarily mean you're getting your ass whooped. Because, like I said, Frankie Edgar at the end of the fight looks messed up. But if you look at it round by round, by strike, statistically, like every other
right.
sport,
He touched the guy more than the other guy. Yeah, I agree with you.
and
on that.
octagon control.
with
I mean, that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. Just because John Bone Jones is checking his reach, we're counting one. I just did 50 points right there. I won the fight.
And
get
then
outta
the
here
other
with
thing
that,
is
dude. No, you have to get
Gustafsson was
outta here
running
with that.
around the ring
Well, is
while
it running around
John
or
Bone Jones was controlling the
moving
middle
to
of it.
position? That's
Yeah,
different
he
than
was
running
moving
around.
position.
No, he was running
Different
around.
angles.
He was running. He was
He was
running.
not
running.
There's like
I
3 or
wouldn't
4
say
times
that.
he was running.
That's how you
Well,
avoid.
it's escape a takedown.
He
I remember that
escaped
one.
takedowns by doing that, and also by getting a different angle.
Yeah, I want to say he was running though.
Yeah.
So I think he was running.
The
But,
Vikings
okay,
never
so now
run,
we have
first
the
of all.
two.
Vikings stand until
Let's
the boat
go back.
is burned
Now
down.
let's go to Alex. Alex was in between. He was
All
just
right.
more excited that this was a very good fight.
So if you get last week's episode, I picked John Jones to win by whatever he wanted, quick, easy, like he's done. John Jones has made a lot of great fighters look silly and bad.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So the theme on Saturday night was if you guys watch college football, there are a lot of blowouts, right? I think 72-0, like 50-20, like a lot of blowouts. I thought, okay, it's gonna be a precursor to the UFC about going to be another blowout. And after that first round, I was more in shock that Gustafsson was able to do what he did to John Jones. At first, during the fight, I was okay. Maybe I had Gustafsson winning just by the sheer fact I've never seen John Jones in this situation before. But then
I
you
saw
look
it in the first round against Machida.
okay, that.
No,
But then, like, once the decision came down, I wasn't really surprised because I think you have to decisively beat the champion if it's going to be that close.
Man, look at his face.
But
Yeah.
with the stat, look at Gustafsson. He
yeah,
had
look
gas
at
on the
Gustafsson
side of his
gash
head.
on top of the head.
Okay,
I'm not saying like I'm happy with the decision, but I wasn't surprised nor am I
but
really
I think
shocked. by
I
it.
think we can if we could take something out of this fight is one thing, and it's clear one thing. It is John Bone Jones' reach, the reason why he's there.
Well, yeah.
No, it's clearly his reach. Give that reach to another talented fighter. If you want to use Machida, let's use Machida. Give Machida an 80-inch span or 82,
I think it was like 84, wasn't it?
even more. See,
Yeah.
the guy will be vicious,
Well, so
deadly.
do you
So,
think?
and now that his reach was isolated, we saw that he really isn't that great. If it wasn't for that spinning elbow, which I think Alexander Gustafsson can
Got
adjust
rocked.
and time it better for the next fight, he would have easily been beat.
Well, do you think now, like this, after this fight, this deters him from going to the heavyweight division, John Jones?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah,
There's no way you can compete
there-
with the heavyweights.
I think that shows right there and then that you
If he could-
you don't belong in the heavyweight divisions because I think Daniel Cormier would toss this kid around like a rag doll. And if you thought Alex Gustafsson had hard punches, wait until you see Cain Velasquez's left hook.
Well, that's the other thing is John Bone Jones was struggling to take down Alexander Gustafsson when he has never had trouble taking down anybody.
I mean,
in the
like,
heavyweight.
for example, John Jones' 84-inch reach, right? I'm looking up Jorge Dos Santos. He's listed as a 77-inch reach advantage.
Yeah, but
And that's pretty much everywhere else, like in the heavyweight division, right?
Yeah.
So his greatest advantage is being bigger than everybody else in the light heavyweight division, right? So it would really deter him from.
it would like what we saw on UFC 165. It would counterbalance it, and then what's left is talent, and obviously he doesn't have any.
Yeah, another example, Frank Mir is listed as 79-inch reach advantage.
See, there you go. Frank Mir would tear him up.
so enough with the shenanigans. What's next for John Bone Jones? Is he gonna fight Glover Teixeira next?
No. There has to be a rematch. I don't care how long it takes for them to recover. How long he needs to ice his fat lip down. There has to be a rematch.
I don't think there's a rematch.
And I think Glover Teixeira's going to end up getting Alexander Gustafsson's teammate Phil Davis.
No, I think he gets Glover. I think John Bon Jones says, Gustafsson, prove it again that you deserve to fight me.
I don't know, it's funny. Usually,
he's
like
chicken if he does
when
that.
these close fights, Dana White's always really eager to say,
And he wasn't.
True. Like even after Machida and Shogun, their first one, no rematch right away.
Yeah.
I think he said
No
for Frank
questions
Yeager,
asked.
And Benson Henderson, no rematch right away.
No
Benson-
questions asked.
But this one, he was like, no, we're just gonna.
Well, let's see how they are and how they recover.
I think, yeah, they do have a lot of money invested and time.
Yeah,
into
you
John
just gotta
Jones.
remember, Gatorade sponsors John Bon Jones. Nike sponsors John Bon Jones,
Well,
and
yeah.
that's all that matters.
Yeah,
Like, you put out a good thing. I like how during the match excuses were already being made up for John Bon
Well, if
Jones.
you heard Joe Rogan.
Yeah, his toe- maybe his toes not healed right.
Let's hear, here comes the excuse route. Yeah, if he wasn't sponsored by Gatorade or Nike, you wouldn't hear those type of excuses.
yeah.
But see, it's that bias they kind of that allows people to open up the controversy book.
Yeah.
Because they play into this bias because he's sponsored by Gatorade and Nike. They give him the benefit of the doubt. They start making up excuses for him, and then that's what causes controversy.
It allows
If they
people
would
to
just
come
be
up with stuff,
neutral,
ideas, yeah.
like they're supposed to be, then
Or call the fight how the fight is happening.
I don't think it'd be as
The-
controversial. as it
That's the
should
one
be.
thing they do have. They always do that. They always jump ahead of themselves a lot.
Yeah.
Right in the middle of the fight, they're already talking about like, oh, maybe he's hurt already, maybe
Yeah.
something like that. Well, how about you call the fight and then see what
And then
happens
afterwards, we find out the real injuries
Yeah.
and what they went through in the
But
camp.
too much speculation going on. Just call the
Yeah,
fight, play by
exactly.
play. That's what you're supposed to do. But yeah, I think all of it was a wake up call for John Jones. He said it was his warrior spirit was tested today, and he proved that he was
that he
capable
proved that he
of.
can get beat.
Yeah, I think some people are saying, oh, maybe this gives more respect to John Jones. I think it makes him more human.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of people are going to be pressing forward against him now. And
Well, you
do
brought up
different
a good
angles.
point that they want to make him out to be Mayweather, but
Yeah, the biggest story going in because like people didn't really give Gustafsson a shot. So
Yeah.
like, oh, what's next for? Even like articles were like, what's next for John Jones before this fight happened?
Yeah.
And he clearly said that
And
he
if
wanted.
and if he is Mayweather, that means Alex Gustafsson is De La Hoya.
Yeah, no. John Jones said his ultimate goal was to become the Mayweather of MMA, which is kind of ridiculous.
Yeah.
I don't think the UFC would ever allow a fighter to make $40 million off
Yeah.
of them. But I mean, Mayweather is a big draw because he's hated so much, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
So just put your conspiracy hat on. How do you make the
biggest
biggest
heel?
bad guy in MMA? Have him win a controversial decision like this. But
There you go.
But then that's not my opinion. That's the conspirator's opinion. But I think John Jones needs to pick an identity. I think
Yeah, if he's gonna be hated on,
embrace that,
Embrace
the
it.
hate,
Yeah, embrace the hate.
and then just
And
go
then,
with
yep.
it.
get into the macho madness.
Because I think right now he's too indifferent in the people's minds right now. Like I kind of like him, I don't like him.
Yeah.
Just pick one. I mean, you need
For us,
You
take
need
your
a-
Well,
blood.
it's gonna sell more.
every
And-
baby face needs a heel for all you wrestling
Well,
fans
look
out there.
Yeah.
I think he's in the same thing as LeBron James.
No, you can't say that.
I hate LeBron James. That's how I can say that.
Yeah, but you hate on him because he's good. LeBron
What?
James. LeBron James has the biggest heart I know, dude. He goes back to Akron every.
But he is hated, so that's what makes him a draw.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, to the
People watch the finals to watch him lose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I tune in to see Miami Heat to see them lose.
yeah, so
The reason I ordered UFC 165 because I tuned in to see Alexander Gustafsson put a beating in John Bon Jones.
So why
See,
are you
but-
tuning into UFC 166?
but was that the opinion of everybody's?
Because we got Cain Velasquez, baby.
Yeah. But I think it was a great fight, hands down, right?
Yeah, no, that was
I
a
think
great
we
fight.
can all
No matter
agree
the
that
outcome, it was a
an
great
awesome
f-
fight.
I think-
We were out of our seats the
Exhausted.
whole time,
And then
and
it
we
was
were at
over.
home.
Yeah, we were
I
exhausted.
was
yeah.
drained. I felt like Alexander Gustafsson after the fight.
You know who I blame the loss on? Is Jason Hendricks. He had the Viking helmet before they even.
If you guys don't know, we have had Jason on the show. He's the epitome of bad luck.
So sorry.
We might have him
It
on
was
later.
round 4, and he had the Viking
Viking
helmet.
helmet.
Yeah,
out.
so we might have him in some future shows just so you guys can see the epitome that is bad luck, Jason.
But regardless whether or not you agree with the decision or not, it was a
Yeah,
great
it was
fight
a
no
great
matter
fight.
what.
Yeah.
Hats off to John Jones and Gustafsson for putting on a great performance. And that's it for this week, right?
Yeah, that's it for this week. So
Yeah.
the next big pay-per-view is UFC 166. I'm already talking about it because my boy Cain Velasquez is fighting on it.
Stack card thing from top to bottom. So until then, make sure to follow us on Twitter at FiveRoundMMA. Subscribe to us on iTunes and YouTube. Make sure to like us on Facebook and check us out on Instagram. And be sure to check out FiveRoundMMA.com for weekly articles and the day's top headlines. Before we go, I want to give a big thank you to our sponsors. I want to thank Honey Badger Performance Energy Drinks. Get the most out of your workout and grab a scoop at drinkhoneybadger.com. I want to thank the Madhouse clothing line, clothes for the fighter and fight fanatic. Go shop themadhouse.com and follow them on Twitter at the Madhouse MMA. I'll give a big thank you to MMA Victor, Fantasy MMA. Test your MMA knowledge and go play against your friends and fans around the world. Make your picks at MMAVictor.com and follow them on Twitter at MMA Victor. And a big thank you to top-rated MMA makers of 100% American-made MMA apparel. Go shop topratedmma.com and follow them on Twitter at topratedmma. Albert, some final words.
I just want to thank our executive producer, Guillermo Cita.
Don't forget about our guest, Jason Sal.
Oh, yeah, big thank you to Jason South,
big thank
MFC,
you,
middleweight.
Well, make sure you guys check out that bout. That should be an exciting bout. Again, thank
October 4th.
Yep.
Against Sam Alvey.
Sam Alvey, smiling Sam Alvey.
Yeah, MFC 38. Check it
Yep.
out. And I'd like to thank our technician, Ollie the Trolley, our sound engineer, Steven Rousel with Rousel Records. Check them out for any of your audio needs, because if you wonder why I sound so beautiful, it's because
It's not the opinions or the voice coming out. It's because
it's Rousel
Steven
Records.
Rousel Records.
Yeah, and then thank everybody for listening and following us. Thank you.
Cream of the crop.